Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Thursday, September 18th, 2025. I, of course, am here to talk about what happened yesterday, how Jay Powell let us down. You know I'm a bit of a fanboy. Not happy with Mr. Powell this morning. So anyway, that's what we will be talking about this morning. We'll talk about what's going on with rates and pricing from here, where things are likely to go, what happened yesterday. We'll kind of dissect it. Also, this show is kind of evolving, as you may have noticed, and it is it is kind of getting a little more where I get off topic a little bit more. So I want to know your feedback on that. I'll ask again later in the show. I'm curious. I'm just kind of seeing where I want to take this thing. So anyway, good morning, my friends. Great to have all of you here. If you're here this morning, please say good morning. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. We broadcast on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're on the replay, do me a favor, just give me a hashtag replay. Otherwise, the computer tells me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people watched the show, and I don't buy it. I know you watched it if you put hashtag replay. So do me a favor and just put that in the comments and let me know. If you are here this morning, your comments are important. That's really what makes this thing go and what pushes us around. So let's go ahead and let's say hi to all the live folks here this morning, because I like to do that. Good morning, Rob Stewart and Mike Brown. Great to have you all here. Ron Siegel, good morning, sir. Now, I'll tell you, National Cheeseburger Day. Let's lighten up the mood for a minute before we get into the good stuff. Let's talk about it. Question of the day. What are your favorite toppings for a cheeseburger? Who doesn't like cheeseburgers? So, of course, we're going to get to the good stuff. We're going to talk about rates and pricing. I feel like I had to rush into that stuff lately, but you know what? I don't care. I'm not going to do that. We're going to do the question of the day, and we're going to have some fun with that. And we're going to talk about that for a minute. And then we're going to get into the Fed and all that other stuff. So who loves cheeseburgers? I love cheeseburgers. It doesn't have to be any fancy Wagyu meat or anything else, because newsflash, Wagyu, when it's the steak, it has a lot more to do with the way that the fat is going to break down to give it flavor. But once it's ground, as long as it's got fat in it, all the fat's gonna be in there anyway. So you don't need Wagyu, right? They just get fancy on you. But nice. I like a nice juicy cheeseburger. Don't give me anything too lean. I don't want bison. I don't want 95.5 chuck. I want it to be fatty. I don't want any damn smash burger. Don't give me any of these crappy smash burgers. I want a nice juicy cheeseburger. American cheese. I love cheddar, but American on a burger. Just a good old American burger. Red onion, lettuce, tomato. I'm good with that. I definitely do like me some onion, either chopped white onion like Eastern onion, or red onion. Has a real good flavor for cheeseburgers. And I don't need to douse it in ketchup and mustard and all that. If it's good burger, good juicy burger with some onion, some tomato and lettuce on it, I'm good with that. I'll eat that thing just the way that it is. Give it to me medium wellish, not too raw, but I don't want it cooked all the way through where it's dark. So let me know how you guys like your burgers. I'm curious, and let's celebrate National Cheeseburger Day. Woo, 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 woo. Go ahead. Let's bring it. All right. Yasmin Martin. Good morning, Megan Bissell. So many comments here. Hold on, let's see. Angela Walters, Holly Johnson, Deb Dickinson, Mike Tebow, Mallory Futiados, Vicky McSweeney, Carla McLeod, Kayla Hans, Ricky Hernandez, Amy Blauser, CJ, Will Patterson, Almir Krivdick, Bill Stevens. Great to see all of you this morning. So anyway, first and foremost, I owe all of you an apology. Powell let me down. Jay Powell he hurt my heart. Y'all know I'm a bit of a fanboy when it comes to Jerome Powell. And let's go ahead and go through everything, and we'll talk about why I owe you a bit of an apology here this morning, because basically I got it all wrong yesterday, y'all. I really I really thought they were going to come through for us. The way that I told Ron Siegel last night, the way that the articles were going, it felt like I thought we were going to get a little bit more love than we got from that. I thought we were going to get a little bit more support from that. So, oh yeah, we'll definitely have to show you this in a minute. This is funny. I love this. I'll come back to that though. We'll go back to that. But for now, let me just pull this all up next to here, and we'll go into what we got going on this morning. So, and let me pull up the rate text real quick, and then I can get rid of this. Okay, so yesterday, I expected that we were going to have a lot more to work with and a lot more love yesterday. So if we take a look here, let's go ahead. Let me pull up Presentify so I can draw on this clearly. Let's take a look at the 5-year chart down here, and we'll do purple. All right. So we were, as mortgage-backed securities go up, that makes us happy. That means better rate sheet pricing. So that's what we're looking at, right? So, the last few days, we went up, then we kind of leveled off, which is what we expected. This was Tuesday. Wednesday, here, yesterday, everything between this line and this line right here. We were just kind of floating around. Now, look at this. And let me put this on a 2-day so we can kind of zoom in on this, right? We were just kind of going. Fed policy statement comes out. Boom! Off to the races. It was awesome. We were up as much as 20 basis points at one point. Look at this. So, when the Fed came out, they cut rates. Their policy, the dot plot came out and said, yes, they felt that they were going to get 3 rate cuts for this year, meaning September cut, an October cut, and a December cut, right? So, it was like, hey, Fed cut a 1/4 point as expected, bonds improving on the day, continue floating into Powell's press conference. I was getting ready to be like, woo, there we were, 101.42. If you remember yesterday, I was calling for 101.60. I thought we were on our way. I thought Powell would just bring us home. But that son of a bitch. And for those of you that I got to tell you, I'm getting a little bit better with this ChatGPT thing. So this is my post that I put on Facebook, and many of you saw it. But basically, Powell came through after that. Powell said, here, hold my beer. And then he proceeded to crush dreams and let me down. Jay Powell, I can't believe you did it. Yeah, let me down. Like Ron Siegel said, he said that the committee knew the labor market was weak, and they knew that the numbers would be weak, and they let the economy suffer. That one was just there. Mike said everything was dovish. It wasn't dovish, dude. It was hawkish. It was actually hawkish. Hawkish is not accommodative. What happened, if it had been dovish, that would have actually helped us. Randy's got it totally dialed in. Powell came in and threw cold water on the whole thing. And basically what happened is that in his press conference, he pissed all over the dot plot and the Fed rate cuts. And this was, I was chatting with Ron last night about this. This is the first time that I really got a vibe from Powell about politics. Like, it really smelled political. And normally I think that he is really not a political guy. I really would have stood up for that. But after Trump just beating on him and Pulte beating on him, no, it feels like he's digging his feet in. It feels like he really, I think he believes in what he's doing. I do want to say that, but he definitely threw a cold thing on it. So we were then forced to go ahead and put out an alert, which did hit before any reprices, by the way. I got the text message before I saw a single reprice. When we saw it go from plus 20, remember, we started out at plus 5 on the day. Then we were at plus 20. Then we went down to minus 9. We ended up ending the day minus 20. So when I sent out the text alert right before the end, it was minus 15. The last couple ticks were minus 20. We ended the day worse. And bonds, look at the 10-year treasury yield, right? I was looking for us to get down into the threes. Where are we at right now? 4.14. This is obviously not where we want to be. So that, I mean, that we put out the alert to lock yesterday, and today I would still be locking. So it's important to keep perspective on this. Let's kind of go through all this together a little bit, and then we'll go through. So again, you guys always know I stand up and throw it out there. When I put myself out there, I really thought that the momentum was there and that the markets were going to grab it, and instead there. So rate sheets today are going to be worse, but we do need to keep perspective. Let's not get too goofy about this whole thing. I told you that this. Look at where 613 was on September 16th, right? When we look at where mortgage-backed securities have been the last few days, that was right here, and they were at their high point, but it just didn't justify rate sheets being where they were, and that was a sign that lenders were slimming margins. They're going for volume. They want to get some volume in the doors, and it looked like that was there. And then what happened is now we've lost ground. So when we saw the best rates according to Mortgage News Daily, which was say 6 1/8, right? Now we're up 6.22. Today we would be back up to probably that 6.29 area. So look at where we've been: 912, 911, 910, 99, 6.29 for all over here, right? So and then where we were at 999, 910. So bonds were like 101.20, 101.07, 101.12, right? Well, now we're below that 100.94. They've broken back below that 101 level, which is not good. That's not, we definitely don't want to see that. So that puts us in a position where you want to be locking loans for protection, stuff closing in 30 days. We're going to get PCE inflation data tomorrow. It's likely not going to help much at all. Repricers today is moderate. Already you'll see bonds that are, we're down 9 basis points on the day, which is more loss, kind of continuing yesterday's losses. You see it here. We had a bit of repricing or a bit of recovery in overnight trading. That's just, that's kind of normal, but then we're still down here. So we're losing ground. How far down? Rates are not going to go. They're not going to go back up to 6.5. You're not going to see this, right? We're not going back up here, which that's where we were at the beginning of September. You're not going to see that. You're going to see it kind of stay back right around. Well, not that one. Right around here. But it is, you're likely to see a little bit higher than 6.29 if we stay this low on the day. We want to try to get back above 101 is where we would like to see. And we'd like to see that 10-year yield drop back into the 4. The team right now it's 4.13. Okay. The day before it was at 4.03. Then we're at 4.07. Now we're at 4.13. So it's kind of moving in that opposite direction. But when we look at where things are going here, look at the expectation of Fed rate cuts. It hasn't really changed. I mean, there's still a 90% basically expectation, 87% expectation that we're going to see another rate cut in October. All right. So we've got about 6 weeks now until we get to that meeting. It's right at the end of October. It's the 29th. And then in December, it's 20% that we would only see one cut. So for a total of 2 cuts this year, and about a 75% expectation that we're going to be there. When we compare that to where we were, it is a little bit lower. This was 81%. Yesterday, it was 81%. Today, 75%. So there is a little less expectation. You can see it right here. The expectation a week ago was that we were going to have bigger cuts. There was a possibility, markets were pricing in the idea that we could see an even bigger cut. Then yesterday it was here. Today it's here that we will only see 2 rate cuts for the year, meaning one in September and another one either in October or December. So we'll see where this goes. But yeah, it was my man Powell. However, I did, as Leroy Romero pointed out, I did tell y'all, I figured that we were going to see things improve and it would help us see the 3-year. But Trump doesn't mind taking credit for something. And for those that don't know where this came from, let me show you where this actually came from. Hold on. let me get rid of that one first. So the White House put this out there. And I don't know if Ben is on. Ben was arguing with me on Facebook. No, Trump has not had anything to do with mortgage rates being where they're at, and I stand by the that he has created more inflation, that the tariffs have been a thing. No, he's not helped bonds. He's not helped bond prices. He's not brought down the 10-year Treasury yield. When we take a look, this is normal trading that we've seen. I mean, when we look at the 10-year Treasury for the last 6 months, this is low, but it was lower than that in April, and it bounced back up. And, he just kind of takes credit for things. I don't want to get too much, but yeah, I had some fun with it, because when they're going to, of course, they're going to crow and take credit for all that stuff. And I figured, well, hey, if he can take credit for it, then I should take credit for it after all. I mean, why does it have to be him? So it did take me some finagling on AI, but Hammer's finally getting into AI now that you can do fun things with it like this. And yeah. So I threw that out there. I thought that was a hell of a lot of fun. So if you like it, go be on Facebook. Let's see. So let's see what you guys have to say. We'll talk a little bit more. We'll talk about burgers and all that good stuff. Also, one thing I wanted to get out there. So like Sean and I were talking earlier this morning, and I put this post on Facebook. Let me pull it up real quick. If we go to my thing here. Hold on. I'll get there. And sorry, I wasn't going to do this, but we'll do this. I think it's kind of important to talk about this, right? So with what happened yesterday, all right, I put up a post on Facebook, and let me move this over so you guys can, there you go. And I put up this post on Facebook, and I said, stop educating or arguing about why rates are lower or the role the Fed cut plays. That the Fed cut rates, but rates went up. Just write the loan. So, and Sean, he felt a little weird. You don't have to go nuts explaining this. I know most people that are good loan officers, and I use that word, loan officers, they like to teach and educate and explain. And I get that, but you need to sometimes be a loan originator. And a loan originator means you write loans. You can't help somebody if you can't find the deal or you can't get the deal, right? And that's where originating comes in, and that's where marketing comes in. And you guys, I'm not saying that anybody should ever lie or mislead, but you don't have to convince people that they're wrong and then try to get them to do business with you. Just go with it. If someone says, oh, I heard the Fed cut rates, say, hey, mortgage rates are actually really low. You're right. Just go with it. You don't have to stop and say, well, actually, the Fed rate cut brought rates higher. Think about the emotional response that triggers in the other person. You are in sales, and I'm not going to let this go. I'm not going to let this go. And this is funny, because I'm telling you guys not to do it, and yet here I am doing the same thing to you. I'm preaching at you that you need to remember that you're in sales, and I'm not even remembering that I'm in sales. And I should be saying to you guys, oh yeah, do that out there, educate. Here's some more stuff that you can use that we put together, our grab and go social stuff that you can educate with. I should be leaning into that and making more money too, but I just can't do it. And I'll tell you why. The difference is rates are still low, but you could say the Fed cut rates, but mortgage rates, they're starting to move high. You don't have to give the whole backstory. Just kind of go with where we're at now. That's my point. All right. So just keep that in mind. All right. Well, let's see what you guys had to say. There's so many comments, and we'll get into this stuff. I'll leave the screen up in case I want to go back to it. First of all, we got to talk burgers. What do y'all like on your burgers? Ron Siegel, Thousand Island dressing, pickles, grilled onion. Oh, you like grilled onion. Ketchup and mustard, Amber says, I'm a child. You know what? Again, I do like ketchup and mustard if it's not a great burger. If it's a great burger, though. Mike Morano is a mushroom Swiss kind of guy. That's my wife. She likes mushrooms and Swiss. I don't like mushrooms on a burger. Nope. Would you be shocked to know you owned a restaurant that sold a 5-pound bacon cheeseburger? Oh my God, that is just, I can't imagine eating that. That'd be like a brick in my stomach. And yeah, that's interesting. That's awesome to know, man. That is great. That is fantastic. And you never ate it as well. Yeah, 5 pounds. A normal burger is like a half a pound, a third a pound. So imagine 5 pounds. Sean, 80-20 ground chuck cheese and bacon with sauteed onions. That's it. There you go. I like sauteed onions, but I like fresh onions. I've never had an In-N-Out burger, Ron. They don't have them in our areas. So no, Mike Brown, bacon, cheeseburger only, no mustard, ketchup. I do like good soft bacon. I don't want the bacon to be too crispy on my burger if I'm having that. Ricky Hernandez, good old cheeseburger for Ricky. Only eat meat, was raised local farmers. I agree, Holly. Love local farmers. Buy a lot of my meat that way. Vicky McSweeney, cheddar, pickles, onions, pickled jalapenos, ketchup, mayo, mustard, lettuce, red onion, and lettuce. But a veggie burger. You do you, though. I support you. I support you and your veggie burger. Grew up near a cafe that was home of the greasy burger, small, thick burgers cooked on a flat top. Yeah. Cheddar, mustard, pickle, onion. Cheddar just doesn't have the bite that American cheese has for me. That's why I'm not really loving that for cheddar. Jabba's claims low, continuing claims low this morning. Any chance they had access to that data? It wouldn't matter. It's only 1 week. Wouldn't matter at all on that. Powell met expectations like Diana Olick. He's always wrong. That is kind of funny. We talked about how that everything there we go. Talked about that. You have to pull the clip from your radio show yesterday. You called for UMBS 5.5 to close at 100.96 to 101.06. That, you know what, man, good for you if you called it. Yeah, that's funny. You asked him to pull the clip. Good for you, because that's right where we're at. You asked for 100.96 right now. Even we did close yesterday right there, and right now we're at that low point. What you said, 100.96. I wanted things to go the other way. I told you last night. I bought the hype of the headlines. I thought we were going to see it. Yeah, the labor market is in trouble, which is why I thought that markets would continue to do that. Randy wants to know, is a rebound likely? No, it's not. Markets are already pricing in. Remember something, you're not seeing a tremendous move here in Fed futures. This is kind of the key for us. If we were to see this disappeared, this is going down, this all tells us that we're not likely to see a rebound. The other thing is this, with the 10-year breaking back up into this range, arguably it could go back up where it was in August. We could get all the way back up here. We're not that far off. So this was 4.20, 4.21. Here was 4.22. And then right here was where it went to 4.16. So, we've got this line in the sand right here, Randy. And if we see that 10-year continue to push up, and if it breaks through here, we'll be in this range again. And this would actually put rates up to about 6.5. So, and that's why I'll change the part at the bottom so that the lock advice is up there. Bear with me, y'all. I'm just going to change this real quick. Lock advice. Come on. Less than 50. Oh, I know why it's not doing it. Hold on. I got to get rid of it. Okay. Less than 15 days lock. 15 to 30. Consider locking. We could see worse. 30 plus, not yet. So this would be my lock advice down at the bottom. If it's 15 days, I would absolutely be locked. Anything closing the next couple of weeks, anything closing in September, I would lock, because we don't have a chance of seeing anything strong until October 3rd. And that's 2.5 weeks out. So we need that. If that jobs data comes in weak again, that markets are going to ride that. They're going to say that the Fed's going to have to continue, and that this is, you'll see more of that talk and stuff like that. Anything's closing the next 30 days, this could be the best of what we're seeing. If we take a look, we are in that low point. It could move back up. We could see 6.5. Earlier in the show, I said maybe not, but it's possible. It's possible we could move back up into this range, into these mid sixes, if we see mortgage-backed securities move back up. If you see the 10-year push up into this range, that means we're going to see mortgage-backed securities push back into this range here, compared to where we're at now. And that's quite a bit lower. So if we, let me just make that a little straighter. There we go. So if we do see bonds continue to work lower and fall back into this range, that's 6.5. So, and anything closing 30 plus days, I don't think you have to panic lock and anything yet on that. It's not really all that. Percent issuing quantitative easing on the 10-year. How can he do quantitative easing? Who's going to buy the 10-year? Or are you saying that he's going to? We talked about how Percent can possibly manipulate the stuff in the past. What do you tell borrowers? Slow to react to the refi boom. Wait a couple years or grab it. Anybody that's right now, grab it. It's the same thing. We went through this before with September of last year, where we talked about like, hey, this stuff disappears. I've already seen that. I've already seen posts like where people are like, wait for rates to continue to get better. No, don't wait for rates. If somebody got their loan up here at 7.26 and they can be refinancing down at 6.25 and saving a point on a $300,000, $400,000 loan, why would you tell them not to do that? No, do that. I don't think we're going to see anything as ugly as this again. I think more likely we could see rates that are pushing up like this. We could get up into that 6.5 range. That might be what happens. We're not there. We're not looking at that yet, but it's on the table. It is on the table. I got to say that. And if we're looking that things could bounce up this high, why would you not take advantage? Again, we're teasing. We're right down at those low rates here. So I would be telling people rates are low, but they're moving higher. But the Fed just cut rates. I know mortgage rates move higher, though. They're bouncing the other way. This is what, and then use this. This is what happened last time the Fed cut rates. Mortgage rates moved higher afterwards. We think it could happen again. Do you want to take the chance? That's the conversation I'd be having. Usually when the report is dovish, Powell speaks wrong as once again, there's a correction. I don't think you're getting a correction. Great presentation on MBS Highway. Tell people 7 of the last refi opportunities lasted 1 to 3 days before it's starting to increase again. History repeats. So yeah, there you go. I mean, so use that stat. Tell them, hey, 7 of the last refinance opportunities lasted 1 to 3 days. Yeah, there you go. That's it's a good way to do things too. So right, Percent wants the Fed to purchase more mortgage-backed securities and not let those run off as much, but he doesn't have anything. He has no control over the Fed. So, and I've said that before too. It's funny that you point that out. Mortgage-backed securities, mortgage rates would be better served with quantitative easing than Fed rate cuts because it's buying mortgage bonds, which have a direct influence on mortgage rates versus short-term interest rates. So we've talked about that. All right, my friends. Well, hopefully you had fun today when we talked about this stuff. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. It has been a long show. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Tomorrow is Friday, TGIF. We're riding the roller coaster. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Hopefully you will join me. Tomorrow we're going to talk about what's going on with the PCE inflation data. We'll see if we do get, any kind of a flattening or rebound tomorrow, what that looks like and where we are heading into next week. So we'll talk all about that tomorrow. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.